Hey Hooper, it's Deanne Love here. If you are changing hoop sizes from a heavier hoop, a weighted hoop, to perhaps a smaller size or a much lighter weight hoop pipe, then you're going to want to keep watching because I'm going to give you some tips on how to make that transition a little bit easier, a little bit sweeter. Okay, so this is a video that I have been wanting to make for a very long time. It is quite normal to feel a huge difference when you go from a larger diameter and heavier size hoop down to a smaller hoop, particularly with your on-body hooping. Now, I want to start by saying that it's never necessary to go to a smaller size hoop. You don't have to unless you're feeling like you want to mix things up or get some different insight or embodiment with a smaller size hoop. A lot of hoopers that I do know, me included, start with a much larger hoop, so it's really easy or starts to get easier to move on body. You learn your foundations and then you decide to try something a little bit smaller or a little bit lighter weight. Warning, if you go from a big, beautiful, juicy hoop to a very small size polypro, even smaller than these ones that I've got here, then you are going to struggle a lot in the on-body department. Also, another important tip before I get into the ways to make it a little bit easier to transition is that if you are feeling really comfortable and juicy on the body with a larger weight hoop or a larger size hoop, and then you try to do exactly the same moves on body with a smaller hoop, you may find that you cause yourself frustration, that you cause yourself potentially pain or injury. So it's really important that you give yourself time and space and that you don't go instantly into on-body moves with a smaller hoop and start thrashing around and lose all of your foundational posture and all of your safety modes to keep yourself injury-free. Very important. All right, so let's move ahead with some of those tips on how to go from a big, juicy hoop to a smaller, lighter weight polypro or HDPE with a little bit more ease. So tip number one is that you might need to move a little bit differently, but most importantly, you're not going to lose your posture, meaning that if, let's just say with waist hooping, for example, if you have built up some ease, some stamina, some strength and coordination with a larger, heavier hoop, and then you move to a much lighter weight and smaller polypro, it's definitely going to feel different. You might already notice that I have to move quite quickly if I'm going to keep my feet planted and if I want to keep my posture. So what you might want to do, first tip, is start to move around. If you move in the same direction, not losing any of your posture, if you move in the same direction as your hoop, what you're going to find is that you'll be able to speed up the rhythm of your pulse, but not do any damaging moves at all. So tip number one is, while with a bigger hoop, you may have been able to stand quite comfortably and smoothly, pulsing forwards and backwards and have lots of arm movement, you will find that you may need to turn in a circle or perhaps move throughout the space to make sure that you maintain your safe posture, but you can keep the hoop spinning. The second thing is that with a larger hoop, you might have felt quite comfortable moving with the hoop on the body and keeping it there for longer periods of time. But when you transition to a smaller hoop, then you're going to have to employ some on and off body transitions a little bit more. Now, of course, there is nothing wrong with the hoop dropping, but when you go to a smaller, lighter weight hoop, you're going to find that you're probably losing it and dropping it a little bit more. So to give yourself some more engaged flow time, then you might want to learn some transitions on and off the body. That is using your hands to take the hoop on and off. Now, I do have lots of tutorials on YouTube. I'll put some links below, or you can do a little search to find transitions on and off the body. But essentially, what we're talking about are moves where we bring the hoop down onto the body and then we catch and take the hoop off. So when you move to a lighter weight hoop, you might find yourself doing more of those transitions. Now, the cool thing is that you will get creative with it, and you'll also be able to have all that same activation. You just might not be standing in the one spot like you may have enjoyed or done mostly with a bigger weighted hoop. So finding different ways to take the hoop on and off, folding, flipping. And the beautiful thing is that with a lighter weight hoop, providing that it's not too small for you, then you will eventually get more comfortable with taking the hoop on and off. Now, here's a tip. Also, you probably already worked this out, that if you were used to a heavier hoop, then when you are transitioning with a lighter weight hoop, it can feel like you're hooping with a feather, like there's not as much connection because there's not as much weight behind the hoop. There's not as much space. So what you're going to want to do if you are working with transitioning on and off the body is really tighten up the timing. What you don't want to do is perhaps do a transition like this and take it onto your body and not be able to feel the hoop's weight. So you're using unsafe posture or any kind of swaying in the hips or back. What you want to do is tighten up the timing with quickening the pace of the drop off. Say, for example, with a move like this. So you're going to go faster with your push. Really make sure that it's connected to your body. So you're not pushing out and then having to do anything that's unsafe. And also, again, like tip number one, turning in a circle, using your hands to take the hoop on and off your body. And then, of course, using these types of transitions, eventually you're going to get stronger, more coordinated, have more stamina, and be able to hoop for as long as you need or want or desire with a lighter weight hoop on your body. Another tip for making the transition from a heavier weighted hoop to a lighter weighted hoop on your body is to practice. But a way to practice without feeling like you're just constantly frustrated or constantly failing or again putting any of your body in jeopardy is to use breaks. And a great practice that you can do to build up strength, stamina, coordination is to spin in one direction, catch with two hands, spin in the other direction, catch with two hands, and just watch how your posture, how your alignment, you might like to turn and break, then eventually one hand, then the other hand. And of course, this doesn't just have to relate to on the waist. You can be doing that if you're finding it challenging to go from your bigger weighted hoop to your lighter polypro hoop on the upper body. You can use breaks here as well, hand-to-hand breaks. I have some tutorials. You can break in one direction on the belly, then take it up to the shoulders, just playing around, bringing hand movements or breaks and reversals, or even movements like a little circle around the body before you connect. One direction, then the other, as a great way to practice rather than just standing in one position and really pulsing it out. Although that is also going to bring you strength and stamina if you still have your alignment and your safe hooping posture. And one more tip is to be really patient. Take your time. When I first transitioned from a bigger hoop to a smaller hoop, it felt like I was hooping with nothing. And it did take a little bit of time, but you eventually get there and you will find a sweet spot of a hoop that is a beautiful size for you, for your body, for your movement, not because it's a cool trend or not because it's what someone else is doing, because your body and their body and my body, they're all quite different. And that's why hoops come in different sizes. So be patient with yourself and go back to what feels comfortable, playing around, feeling good, feeling juicy. I still pick up my first big chunky hoop and have a play for full connection, for an amazing spinal activation and a beautiful on-body massage. Go back and play for as long as you like, and then little by little introduce a new size hoop. There are going to be times, and I've made this mistake as well, when you purchase a hoop that is potentially too small for some of the styles or on-body hooping that you enjoy. But that doesn't mean that you have to throw it away. There are lots of other tricks and transitions that you can use that might not necessarily be waist hooping or shoulder hooping or continuous on-body rotations, but you can still maintain connection with your body. For example, escalators are a great one, isolations, breaks on and off the body. So there's a whole range of moves that you can do. Most important is that you're patient, that you have fun, that you're bringing in joy and creativity, and that you're giving yourself time to just mess around and play. And if the hoop drops, pose, dance, pick it up, and keep on going. Okay, so there you have my tips on how to successfully and sweetly transition from a bigger size hoop to a smaller size hoop. But I know that you're probably going to have your own journey. And because this is a community, what I'm asking is that you leave your tips down below, because I know that other hoopers read the comments as well. So what is your hottest tip for transitioning from a bigger hoop to a smaller hoop? Or did you never transition because you're just so in love with your juicy hoop? Or did you start with a really small hoop and then change? Let us know in the comments down below what helps you to move through different hoop sizes, or what is your sweet spot. I look forward to reading. Big hoop love from me to you. Mwah.